Texas illegal immigrant arrest law remains blocked, but that could change again really at any minute. The law was in effect for several hours Tuesday before a late-day appellate court decision put it back on hold. That court held a hearing today as it weighs whether to put the law back on the books while the courts decide whether Texas SB4 is constitutional. Fox 4's Blake Hansen live tonight with more on the next steps. Blake.
Yes, Steve, much of the legal wrangling so far is focused more on court procedure, but the larger debate on the constitutionality is still playing out. The debate over Texas' new migrant arrest law went in front of 3 judges at the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans Wednesday.
Texas has a right to defend itself, and under any plausible reading of that right, at least some applications of SB4 are constitutional.
Texas lawmakers passed Senate Bill 4 last year, a unique law that lets state and local law enforcement arrest people accused of entering the country illegally. Law enforcement could then take those suspects to a judge to be deported. But immigration enforcement has long fallen under control of the federal government. The feds argued the law won't survive a long-term court battle similar to a 2012 Supreme Court decision on an Arizona law.
To the extent that there is a distinction between what was happening in Arizona and what's happening here, it's that this is more at the heart of the area that the court has consistently recognized is reserved for the national government.
Appellate judges questioned state lawyers on how the law would play out.
So what if someone enters in, let's say, from Mexico into Arizona and lives there for 5 years, then moves to Texas? Are they covered?
I don't know the answer.
Right now, I feel good about where we are. I understood that there would be challenges. Didn't know exactly what form they would take.
Jacksboro Republican State Representative David Spiller carried the legislation in the House. He says the law was crafted to steer clear from the problems that doomed Arizona's law.
SB4 is drafted and designed the way that it is so that it can withstand constitutional scrutiny. Now, that being said, if the U.S. Supreme Court wants to say we're going to overturn all or part of the Arizona case, that's fine with me.
Governor Greg Abbott, speaking at an event Wednesday, addressed the comparisons drawn to the Arizona case.
We found ways to try to craft that law to be consistent with the dissent that was wrote in that Arizona case by Justice Scalia.
One reason the federal government has argued against the Texas law is the potential impacts on foreign relations. Mexico's President Wednesday said his country would not accept deportations carried out from the state law. While there may be more legal whiplash over the law, many feel there is only one way it all ends.
Do you think there's any way this gets resolved without going to the Supreme Court?
No.
So still no decision as a result of today's hearing on whether the temporary block of the law should stay in effect. There is a broader hearing on the legality of the bill early next month, and then depending on the result there, a lot of different directions it could potentially go, including ending up at the Supreme Court. Steve?